Okay, we'll call to order the Raymore Parks and Recreation Board meeting Tuesday, July 26, 2022. Can I get a roll call, please?
Member Manson.
Present.
Member Troutman.
Present.
Member Cooper.
Present.
Member Mapes.
Present.
Member Casas, Member Scott, and Member Collier are absent tonight. Staff is present. Office Assistant Nav is off this evening.
Great, thank you. Next, we'll move to Pledge of Allegiance. All stand, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to move on to personal appearances. I don't see any personal appearances, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. I will need approval of Park Board minutes of June 28, 2022.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Bill.
I move that we approve the minutes from the prior meeting as stated.
Okay. Do I hear a second? I'll second. Okay. Hearing a first and second, any questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Passes 5-0, 3 absent. Excellent. Next, we'll move to staff reports. Director?
Thank you, sir. I will ask Mr. Gibbs to do a report on the recreation facilities.
Thank you, Mr. Mustine. Mr. Troutman and members of the board have submitted a written report, but I do have a couple highlights for you. I do want to start off by saying that Recreation Coordinator Corinne Harkins is now on maternity leave. We don't know any if she's had her child yet, but we do have an assistant coordinator. Her name is Emily Bond. She is taking over the programs that we have that are the community programs. She's also in charge of our day camp and things like the farmers market that's going on behind you today. Over the past couple of weeks, we are being more aggressive as we've been working on budgets, being more aggressive on getting information about next year's fireworks show, the Spirit of America. Did prepare the RFP that will go out, or that has gone out, and we will be receiving those back in August, so that we will be able to have some more solid numbers for the fireworks display at Spirit of America. Did meet with lighting company to improve stage lighting out at the amphitheater, and these are mostly the arts committee is when they're doing some of their events out there, they are using that space almost exclusively right now. So we did get some lighting added to that. It's not full on lights and sound, but it is providing a little bit more light for the early evening events that are going on out there. Camp is going along quite well. We've been steady with 100 campers weekly. We've been doing some really pretty cool things. They did get to go to Legoland last week, the Deanna Rose Children's Museum, and also a visit to Science City. We had a kind of a surprise at the beginning of last week when our bus company that we have contracted with said, oh, we don't have any staff to drive your bus for the field trip that you have scheduled tomorrow. We were able to contact another bus company, and they accommodated us, so we didn't have to have any effects on the kiddos that are going on there. I did want to bring up a couple events that we've got for upcoming. Next week, the farmers market, because of the August 2nd primary election, the farmers market will not be held because there'll be competing events going on because Centerview is one of our polling spots. The RAC is another one of our polling spots, so day camp will also not be held August 2nd, next week, Tuesday, August 2nd. Couple deadlines and registration deadlines that we've got coming up. Softball registration deadline is August 12. Volleyball registration deadline is August 19. And then a couple that are coming a little bit sooner. Youth soccer and youth flag football are both registration deadline on August 5. That concludes my report. Have any questions?
Any questions for Superintendent Gibbs? No? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Director?
Thank you, sir. I'll ask Mr. Rulo for a Parks report.
Thank you. I also did a written report. Just wanted to highlight a few things. Park staff has been working on the disc golf course, remulching, making sure the weeds are all sprayed down, cut down. We have a disc golf tournament coming, I think it's August 20th. Someone has rented the course for that day, so this is about their fourth or fifth year of renting it, so looking forward to that. Staff's also been rebuilding some of the obstacles out there for the mud run. Been quite a while since we kind of went through. They were getting a little shaky, so went ahead and rebuilt those. The mud run is August 19th, Friday afternoon. If anybody wants to come out and volunteer, just let us know. Either get a hold of Greta over at Centerview, myself, Nathan, Jimmy, and we can make that happen. And thankfully, we finally got some rain, so the guys will be back to the routine mowing come next week. We've been spot mowing for about the past probably 3 weeks, just hitting where the water grass is growing to try to make it look a little bit better. So that concludes my report, and would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Superintendent Rulo? No? Great report. Thank you, sir. Director?
Thank you, sir. I also submitted a written report, but I do want to apologize. Last night, we did a proclamation in front of the City Council for Parks and Rec Month for the month of July, and I did invite my entire staff to attend that with me. I just failed to invite you as the board, but I have my reasons, and that's because I forgot. So the mayor read a proclamation, and the month of July is nationally or annually the officially Parks and Recreation Month as voted by the House of Representatives. So it's all across the country. Typically, a proclamation is towards the beginning of the month, announcing the month. I was out of town, so what the mayor asked if we could wait until the end of the month and then kind of close the month, which is why the timing was different. Normally, I would tell you guys in June to come, but I didn't because things happened. So, very pleased, and I think the guys, the parks crew and even the recreation crew that typically don't attend a city council meeting, and may have been the first for most of them to attend, were pleasantly surprised at how happy the council is with what we do every day, how much they recognize what we do every day. And so I just invited them to have that opportunity to be told by somebody, you know, outside of me forgetting to pass along everything they say to us all the time. So what we're also going to do is we're going to wrap up with a staff luncheon on Monday. I'm going to have been authorized by the mayor and the city manager to cater some luncheon for our guys and just thank them for a lot of work that we do. You all are welcome. I just need kind of an RSVP if you want to attend, but it's just a lunch on Monday, and it's just a thank you from city staff and council to my department for how much we do. I mean, we're 11 full-timers, and we do a whole lot of stuff, and I'm the least of the ones who does anything. These guys work hard, so very proud of them. Very thankful to be leading this team of these folks. Couple more items. Obviously, the mini mud run's coming up. Next week, as Mr. Gibbs said, next Tuesday is an election where our facilities are taken over by our governmental process. So Centerview, although our office is open for business, Centerview in and of itself is a polling location. The RAC is a polling location. And even TB Hanna, the parking is pretty tight on a high-impact election because of the parking lot and the proximity to the church, the Fellowship Church right across the street. So parking at TB Hanna will be, pretty tight as well. So just a reminder, it's nice to have, be able to put our facilities front and center when the community has to come out and vote. It's nice to be able to be where, be recognized where they're at for those things. I'm happy to answer any questions. I think that we've talked enough. Well, one last thing I would like to say, Spirit of America, it was one of those events that the weather was fantastic. The timing of the day for the event and proximity to the day off and the 3-day weekend and all of that, it was by far the biggest event I think I've ever seen. Everybody who's been around for several years, if you were at the park, I mean, we had 10 food trucks that sold out. We had to close the park again for parking. It was the most people I've ever seen out at Recreation Park. It's a cool event. I hope we're able to continue to do it. That concludes staff report. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the director? Bill?
This is more in the line of a statement than a question, Director. But to let you know, the board was represented at that meeting last night because of the nature of the proclamation and the professionalism of your staff and members and the importance of it. It wasn't overlooked entirely, no.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know the board was represented.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes, Patrick?
Maybe more of a comment as well, that the proclamation was fantastic. It was nice for the city council to do that, and certainly very happy that you guys were able to receive that recognition. It's more than an annual thing. July may be something, the Parks and Recreation Month, but it's wonderful that our people, that our city council and the mayor took that time to recognize it and to say that and it's also nice to see the different departments working together. So as a board, I think we're tickled and happy to be representatives of your all hard work. So thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Director. All right, we have no unfinished business, so we're going to move to Section 8, new business. Action Item A, fiscal year 2023 budget recommendation. Director?
Thank you, sir. This is one of the most important meetings that we have every year, and that's the approval of our budget and our capital improvement plan. We work on this, as you guys know, we began capital improvement projects in late January into February, and we start working on them. The putting that program together, the budget itself, we began working on that in April, and it's a long process up to this point. Once this board has seen this, and if approved, it moves on to the city manager and his presentation to the city council. Once all of those things are taken care of, it moves to the city council for the month of October for a first read, a second read, and then is put into place on November 1st. So tonight's budget, one of the things that's unique about our city is we are a zero balance budget entity. So we present to you a budget that is zero balanced to the park board, and then it goes to the city manager to implement the insurances, personnel costs, benefits costs, all of those things that haven't, personal property tax, revenues, those things haven't really come in at this point. He balances the budget once that information is there. What you're getting tonight is our view of our operational cost, revenues and expenses, everything that's within our control to balance, give the city manager an excess in revenue so that he can balance that budget once we're done. So tonight, if you look on our summary sheet, we are presenting you tonight with a budget of $49,265,000 above expenses so that the city manager can take that additional revenue and balance that budget once he gets his cost in. What we're asking tonight is an approval of this budget, which we have gone extensively through revenues, and that includes some changes in our program cost, our registration fees to balance those and provide that surplus, all the way to our expenses, which is how much we can cut expenses without cutting services or quality or service. And so tonight's presentation to you are both of those things brought together. We are asking an approval of this budget with the authorization for the Parks Director, myself, the City Finance Director, and the City Manager to make necessary changes to present a complete balanced budget to the City Council in August. That concludes staff report. I'm happy to answer any questions. I will say that a motion recommendation has been written on there, so that if whoever makes the motion wants to just read that, that's fine. That's why I wrote it that way, to help make sure that it's done in a way that legally the city manager can make those changes. That concludes staff report, sir.
Any questions for the director? Okay, seeing none, I will ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Bill.
considering my computer is not acting right, I'm going to make the motion that we approve the 2023 fiscal year recommendation as presented and with all authority, all authorizations necessary.
Excellent. Do I have a second?
I'd second that motion.
Okay. Hearing a first and second, any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we'll take it to vote. All those in favor? Passes 5-0, 3 absent. Next, we're going to move on to action item B, fiscal year 23 capital improvement plan. Director?
Thank you, sir. The next item on our budget is our capital improvement plan. This is the program where we as a board look out 5 years ahead and we prioritize major capital projects. These are projects that are at one-time expenses of construction or improvements to our park system. We did meet earlier in, I believe it was towards the end of May, that we had a joint work session with the city council reviewing a particular project that has been in the queue for a long time with a dog park. And given the circumstances and the timing of parkland dedication, both the park board and the city council felt that it was time to go ahead and leave that dog park to be fully funded in this upcoming year. So you'll see that as right out of the gate one of our major projects. Now, timing of the actual land dedication, which is scheduled for some time before the end of this year, will determine when we actually begin building that park. But what will happen is this money gets now appropriated into a restricted revenue for the dog park and can be spent on nothing but that, unless we come back and we do a budget amendment. So the next project that we have on task is the disc golf relocation. We talked for years about how we wanted to move the disc golf, especially the front 9, into more of the back 9 area or the Moon Valley area, specifically to accommodate the expansion of the rack. Last night we had the first reading of the design of the rack. We know that that project is coming and will be under construction. We felt that at this time it's the right time to go ahead and budget the relocation of this. I would like to say that as part of the master plan, we solicited a project for a cost estimation That project was 3 quoted, and prices came in under the bid amount, so all we were required to do was a 3 quote, did not require park board approval, but I know that you guys know I've been working on this. Basically, it was a cost estimate of every project that we could come up with and think of that we might do for the next 20 years, and that included annual inflation and cost and rising cost. It included consulting fees and administrative fees and actual cost now. So we tried to bank in every little scenario so that these projects are funded accurately and have potential to come in underfunded, which is typically the opposite. We usually underfund them and then they come in over budget. So what you're seeing with this disc golf is a very healthy fund being appropriated to this project, which I don't anticipate it being that much, but I probably just jinxed it. But that is why the disc golf is there, is because the rack is coming up. That's the main purpose of these 2 projects. The rest of these have been prioritized for need, emergency, or commitment purposes. So TB Hanna Phase 2, that's 4 years in coming. That's been on the docket for a long time. We need to wrap that project up. TB Hanna is extremely popular. Within the next month, I'm traveling to Charlotte to accept our national award on that project. We need some parking there. We need to clean up some stuff that we didn't do the first time. So that's why that stays in the line. Next is the Good Parkway Trail replacement. That is the trail that starts at Lucy Webb and ends at Stonegate School. That's the oldest trail that we have in our community. It was began in 2002, was completed in 2003, and frankly, it's served its life. There are areas that need to be replaced. Specifically, there's a bend of the creek that comes right up, and it's undercutting the trail, and we're going to have to do some emergency repairs prior to the time this is budgeted if it doesn't hold. This is a critical project that needed to be put in place. This is a portion of that funding. It's actually a higher cost than the $400,000 that's budgeted, but funding is coming from other sources, so you don't have to approve those. You're approving only the part we're contributing. And then the next are baseball concessions, scoreboard, and the shades for the shade structures. Concessions is a 25-year-old building now. It's basically 25 years old. It just needs some heavy upgrades. It's time for that. Shade structures at that point will be 10 years old. They're already showing wear and tear. And then the scoreboards, that is a promise to the Park Foundation. They donated roughly approximately around $15,000, and we were to match that. And we actually beefed that up because we expect them to be higher. So that's where those projects come in. And then 2027 is the parking expansion at the rack. You guys all know, as we approved the skate park, this is the removal of all that skate park area, building a new parking lot there, and then adding a playground next to the rack for summer camp purposes. That's our capital improvement project. I want to make sure everybody understands who's watching this. We're approving the plan, but we're only funding year 2023. That is what is being funded in our city coffers. The rest of it is our plan of action over the next 5 years. Happy to answer any questions. That concludes my staff report.
Any questions for the director? Yes, go ahead, Dan.
With the disc golf, will part of it still go through the wooded area as it does now, or will that be removed from that wooded area?
Yeah, actually, most of the whole front 9 will go back into that wooded area and utilize Moon Valley Park on the backside.
So the field behind it and the
Yeah.
wooded area as well?
Yes.
Okay.
The design will probably reach out to some disc golf folks and help. We have a temporary design that former member Eric Eastwood provided for us. We'll probably reach out to some of those guys and make sure that's still a valid plan for the layout of that course. But for the most part, we're getting it out of the front of Rec Park, so you won't see it when you drive by.
So I really enjoy that part that goes through the wooded area. There are some needs for small walkways over, streams and things like that. Is that sort of looked at as part of this design?
Yes.
As well?
Yes, that the, some safer ways to cross the creeks and do those are budgeted within that $51,000.
That's a very unique part. I would hate to lose that, but I think it does need a little bit of improvement when it comes to crossing the creeks.
Yeah, we want to do some natural looking crossings, using some boulders and some things, but obviously it has to pass safety inspections and stuff like that, but we have put that in the budget to address those needs.
Okay, thanks.
You bet.
Any other questions? No? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Bill?
I move that we approve the budget to be presented to the city manager and to adjust project budgets to meet the revenue projections as necessary.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. First and second, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to vote. All those in favor? Passes 5-0, 3 absent. And the last action item C, business meeting time change. Director?
Yes, sir. This is a proposal which would be an amendment to our bylaws. It's something that we have talked about as a board, not necessarily recently, but in previous years and in meetings about permanently moving our 7 o'clock time to a 6 o'clock time, just for your personal for your personal lives, for staff, and just to make better use of our time. And I think since I've been the director, we have changed the way we function as a board and as a department. It used to only be on the fourth Tuesday of the month, and we've added the second Tuesday of the month for work sessions because we needed them. We've been very, very busy over the course of the past 5 years. One of the things we wanted to do is the way this fourth Tuesday of the month is set up, it lends itself to a work session at 6 o'clock, and you really don't want to cancel that 6 o'clock time. What we're asking is that we flip that so that if there is no need for a work session, we're not trying to find things to fill that time. We can have our meeting and we can go home. But if we need the work session, we can still schedule a work session immediately following regular business meeting, much like you would do an executive session. You would adjourn, go right into work session, and we would take care of business. The other thing that this proposal would do is puts more emphasis on that second Tuesday so that we can not cancel those all the time, but most of our work session items get funneled into the one Tuesday, and then we have the one meeting at the end of the month, and trying to streamline some stuff so we're not wasting everybody's time. I don't feel like our schedule we have now is a waste of time. I think we can just do better, which is why I'm presenting this. We did not talk about this previously in work sessions. I'm kind of throwing this one on you, so more than happy to answer any questions or help explain this a little further. But if this is approved, we would come back and make an amendment to our bylaws, which we need to review the bylaws this year anyway. It's been 4 years since we've had a review of those bylaws, so we would bring those back to you with this recommended change and then have the board review those. But what I also see is other boards and commissions have been talking about doing across the board 6 o'clock timeframes, so we typically either are making those moves first or we're following the lead of the city council. This is an instance where we would be one of the first boards or commissions to make this move, but it is solely a preference on the board. This is just a suggestion by staff, and happy to answer any questions or entertain any discussion revolving this request. Thank you.
Any comments for director? Yes, Dan?
This change would be tough for me personally, and I think also, I think a lot of people who would like to come to meetings would find it easier to come at a later time. Me personally, I work pretty far away. I work downtown and I live here in Raymore. And I would be opposed to changing meetings to 6 just because of the fact that I can't always make it at 6. And I feel like the public may have that same problem. I know we have a lot of people that work outside of the city, and I find a 7 o'clock meeting just more accessible for more people, and that's what we want. We want people to come to our meetings. So just for me personally, I would not support moving to a 6 o'clock time just because of the fact that I work so far away. And I would be worried that if I had bad traffic, I'll be late to an actual, a business meeting as opposed to a work session. And I think that would just be tough for me to commit to that. So that's just my comments.
Anyone else with comments? Bill?
Director, what time do you get off, what time does your official 8 hours end?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
That's an 8-hour workday. I'm on duty 24/7.
But staff that has to report here, for example, our superintendents,
Yes.
they're normally,
Our
their day-
typical
workday-
workday for Mr. Gibbs is an 8 to 5. Mr. Rulo is a 7:30 to 3. 7 to 3:30 is Steve's daily hours.
And do we account for the intervening time by pay? They're paid for that intervening time, right?
These gentlemen sitting to the right and left of me are salaried, so they do what they have to do to be here when they have to be here. Any other staff members that are required, Greta, for instance, it would be overtime or flexing hours for her to attend these meetings.
Okay, so basically it's time that we're looking at, time that could be utilized for personal life too.
Yes, sir.
Meetings are held early, the meeting itself, we held our work session at 6 on the second Tuesday. All you're asking to do is have the meeting move to 6 on the fourth Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Time is one of the things. It's more for me personally as the director of the department, it's more of a streamlining of utilizing our second Tuesday and our fourth Tuesday. Our work sessions currently are at 6 o'clock on the second Tuesday already. We do a 6 o'clock work session on the fourth Tuesday. I'm simply asking on that fourth Tuesday, we flip-flop the work session and the meeting so that if we need to cancel a work session, we can have that meeting and then we can go home. But if we need to have the work session, the time is still there. Essentially, that's what it is. It's just a flip-flop of our fourth Tuesday schedule.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? No? Seeing no discussion, I'll ask for a motion.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we change our meetings on the fourth Tuesday to 6 p.m. and make the recommended changes to the bylaws to meet that.
Okay, I have a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Have a first and a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, I'll take it to a vote. All those in favor? All those against? Okay, 4 for, 1 against, 3 absent.
So
Next.
as a quick follow-up,
Yes, sir.
as stated on the staff or on the agenda item, I did schedule that to be implemented at the next business meeting 1 month from now to begin effective immediately. So there was no change or discussion on that. I just want to highlight that. So, but I'll make sure and remind everybody and be very clear about that so that everybody is aware of that. And we'll move forward and see how that process works. If it becomes a strain, well, we can address that at that time, but That concludes this item.
Okay, thank you. Next, we move to public comment. Doesn't look like we have any public, so we'll move to board member comment. Dan, I'm going to start with you.
All right. First, Nathan, thanks a lot for the budget. You know, getting that balanced, and I went through it all, and there's a lot there, a lot of line items, a lot of things that, you know, I've seen before, but thinking about them again really brings to light all the things that the Parks Department does, and, you know, just getting that budget balanced is quite a feat, so I really appreciate staff, especially Nathan, for taking the time to do that. Then I want to just talk about the 4th of July. I brought my family out, and we had a wonderful time. I think it's smart to close off the parking lot when it gets too full. I don't know how you got everybody out so quick, but whatever you did, it was pretty amazing. I'm glad we decided to, you know, spend a little bit more on the fireworks to get the same that we got the previous year. I feel like it was a little better than the previous year. I don't know if they gave us a little bit of a value for our investment, but seeing everybody out there on the 4th of July and utilizing our parks, and it was just a real good experience. So I just wanted to thank staff for all that hard work, and I hope we can continue that far into the future. That's all my comments.
Thank you, Dan. Ken?
No particular comments tonight.
Thank you, sir. Patrick?
Just thank you for the work that you're doing, particularly the budget. That's never an easy process. There's a lot of head scratching and getting the department heads to work together on that. I've done it myself in previous jobs, and I know how difficult it can be. You're dealing at a much higher level than I did, and thank you for the hard work. I've heard nothing but good about the Spirit of America, so we want to continue that. I just want to say it's very important for people to utilize the parks. This is a wonderful asset we've got in Raymore, and the staff working together to get this done with other departments. We need to protect what we have, and appreciate your hard work.
Thank you, Patrick. Bill?
Yes, the Spirit of America was excellent. I think park staff did a superb job. Police department did an excellent one too, getting traffic in and out. And I have to say too, the work on the budget, I know that's time consuming, hair pulling, I'm sorry, sir. It's just, I'm sorry, but it was extremely difficult, I know. Hard work prioritizing. So, I got to thank you. I also I have to thank the city, you know, the council for, obviously part of the budget is money that we receive too from them, and working with them is a benefit to everybody, including this, and without their help and aid, we wouldn't be as successful as we are. So again, thanks. I want to thank the staff. You did an excellent job.
Thanks, Bill. Everything's pretty much been said here, so I won't rehash it all. One thing I want to bring up is just a reminder to the public that Tuesday is a vote, a very important vote. I'd ask that you would look over, get informed about the Proposition P, and get out and vote on it. It's a very important vote. So with that, we're done with comments, so I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move we adjourn this meeting of, what is the date? July 26th.
Still 26, yes, Bill. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped the second. I was so thrown by what day it is. I'll ask for a second on that first before we vote.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Ken. I have a first and second. All those in favor now? All four, 5-0, 3 absent. Meeting adjourned.